With these can-do videos, you'll see real-life situations where you have to introduce yourself, talk about your family, or give your contact information. So, by the end, you can do them yourself in Korean. This video is a small portion of our can-do course. To get the full course, including translations, grammar tools, and assessment tests, click the link in the description. Welcome to Can Do Korean by KoreanClass101.com.
안녕하세요 여러분, 김계진입니다. Hi everyone, I'm Kejin Kim. In this lesson, you learn how to ask if a store has something.
This is Sasha Morris. She's at a small grocery store, and she wants to buy some salt. She gets the clerk's attention and asks, "Excuse me, do you have any salt?"
저기요, 소금 있어요?
Listen to the conversation and focus on the question. Ready?
저기요, 소금 있어요?
네, 여기 있어요.
Once more with the English translation.
저기요, 소금 있어요?
Excuse me, do you have any salt?
네, 여기 있어요.
Yes, it's here. Wondering how you can master these conversations even faster? Here's how. 1. Read along. You get the lesson conversation and translations inside our dialogue tool so that you see each word as you hear it and understand it all. 2. Practice speaking. By shadowing what you hear, you can also record and compare yourself with native speakers with our voice recording tools. And 3. Take our assessment tests and see how much you remember. These tools are part of our Can Do course. Just click the link in the description to get them.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Sasha Morris says, "Excuse me, do you have any salt?"
저기요, 소금 있어요?
This starts with,
저기요,
"Excuse me."
저기요, 저기.
Literally, over there. It refers to a place that is a bit away from the speaker. It can also be used to call a person, as in the dialogue.
저기, 저기.
Next is
요,
a polite informal sentence ending.
요, 요,
Note, adding
요.
at the end of a sentence makes it more polite. Altogether,
저기요,
literally means over there, but it translates as "excuse me."
저기요.
Next is
소금,
salt.
소금, 소금.
Note the subject marking particle,
이,
in this case, which would mark
소금.
salt as the subject of the sentence, is omitted. In spoken Korean, speakers tend to omit particles when it's clear which particle would be used. After this is,
있어요?
which translates as, "Do you have?" in this context.
있어요? 있어요?
Translation note.
있어요?
Could also translate as, "Is there?" as in, "Is there any salt?"
있어요.
Is the informal polite form of,
있다.
meaning to exist, to be, or to have.
있다.
Together it's,
소금 있어요?
this literally means, salt you have, but it translates as, "Do you have any salt?"
소금 있어요?
Note the rising intonation that indicates this is a question. Listen again.
저기요, 소금 있어요?
Let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how the clerk says, Yes, it's here.
네, 여기 있어요.
First is
네,
yes.
네, 네,
The shop clerk responds with
네,
yes to answer Sasha's question. After this, the clerk says,
여기 있어요.
translating as, it's here.
여기 있어요.
Note, the clerk is pointing while saying this. First is,
여기,
meaning here.
여기, 여기,
Next is,
있어요.
translating as, it's, in this context.
있어요.
Recall
있어요.
is the informal polite form of,
있다.
meaning to exist, to be or to have, in this context.
있다.
Note the intonation. Without the rising intonation, the statement is declarative. Altogether, it's,
네, 여기 있어요.
this literally means, yes, here it is, but translates as, yes, it's here.
네, 여기 있어요.
The pattern is,
아이템, 있어요?
do you have item?
아이템, 있어요?
To use this pattern, simply replace the item placeholder with the thing you're looking for. Imagine you're looking for milk.
우유, 우유, 우유.
Say, do you have milk? Ready?
우유 있어요?
Do you have milk?
우유 있어요?
In most cases, Korean doesn't make a distinction between singular and plural nouns. You will use the same pattern when you are looking for salt or an apple or a dozen apples. For example, 사과 있어요? Can translate as are there any apples? Or is there an apple? Depending on the number of apples. The English translation may alternate between singular and plural, but the Korean pattern remains the same.
Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat or speak along with the native speakers.
소금 있어요? 소금 있어요?
우유 있어요? 우유 있어요?
사과 있어요? 사과 있어요?
후추 있어요? 후추 있어요?
설탕은 어디에 있어요? 설탕은 어디에 있어요? Did you notice how I used a different pattern? 설탕은 어디에 있어요?
Where is the sugar? First is
설탕,
sugar.
설탕, 설탕.
Next is
은,
the topic marking particle.
은, 은.
It marks sugar as the topic of the sentence. Think of it like as for, in the expression as for sugar. Next is
어디,
where.
어디, 어디.
After this is the particle,
에,
the location marking particle.
에, 에.
In this sentence, think of it as the on or at. In spoken Korean, it's often omitted, as speakers tend to omit particles when it's clear which particle would be used. After this is
있어요?
translating as in, where is the sugar, in this context.
있어요? 있어요.
Is the informal polite form of,
있다.
meaning to be, in this context.
있다.
Together, it's
설탕은 어디에 있어요?
literally, as for sugar, where is it? But it translates as, where is the sugar?
설탕은 어디에 있어요?
You should be aware of this pattern, but you won't need it for this lesson. Wondering how you can master these conversations even faster? Here's how. 1. Read along. You get the lesson conversation and translations inside our dialogue tool, so that you see each word as you hear it and understand it all. 2. Practice speaking. By shadowing what you hear, you can also record and compare yourself with native speakers with our voice recording tools. And 3. Take our assessment tests and see how much you remember. These tools are part of our Can-Do course. Just click the link in the description to get them. Let's review the key words.
우유,
Milk,
우유, 우유. 사과,
apple,
사과, 사과. 후추,
pepper,
후추, 후추. 설탕,
sugar,
설탕, 설탕. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say salt? 소금, 소금. And how to say excuse me? 저기요, 저기요. Do you remember how Sasha Morris asks, "Excuse me, do you have any salt?"
저기요, 소금 있어요?
저기요, 소금 있어요? Do you remember how to say yes? 네, 네. And how to say here? 여기, 여기. Do you remember how the clerk says, "Yes, it's here"?
네, 여기 있어요.
네, 여기 있어요. Do you remember how to say apple? 사과, 사과. And how to say sugar? 설탕, 설탕. Do you remember how to say milk? 우유, 우유.
Let's practice. Imagine you're Sasha Morris, and you're at the grocery store. Get the shopkeeper's attention and ask if they have sugar. Ready?
저기요, 설탕 있어요?
네, 여기 있어요.
Listen again and repeat.
저기요, 설탕 있어요? 저기요, 설탕 있어요?
Let's try another. Imagine you're looking for the apples. Ask if they have any. Ready?
저기요, 사과 있어요?
네, 여기 있어요.
Listen again and repeat.
저기요, 사과 있어요? 저기요, 사과 있어요?
Let's try one more. Imagine you're Mark Morris, and you're at the grocery store to buy milk. Ready?
저기요, 우유 있어요?
네, 여기 있어요.
Listen again and repeat.
저기요, 우유 있어요? 저기요, 우유 있어요?
When asking for something, Koreans often use the following adverb. 혹시, meaning by any chance. 혹시. For example, 혹시 소금 있어요? Do you have salt by any chance? 혹시 소금 있어요? This adverb could also translate as could it be that? And is used when making assumptions or speaking of possibilities. This is the end of this lesson.
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head. Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can-Do course.
Now you know how to ask if a store has something in Korean. That's all there is to it. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.